Hello guys and welcome back to Lisa Lives. I'm hoping this is filming in the right direction. I'm in frame in the middle. I'm doing it on something I can't sort of see the flip screen because I need my trusty old phone. That will tell you it's time for my what I watched this week. So we're getting the old video recorder going, and the last video I think I spoke to you about was Howl. They're on the 15th. So let's start on the 16th with Songbird. Okay, Songbird is one that's popped up on Amazon Prime. That is one actually about the coronavirus pandemic. Demi Moore's in this, which sort of piqued my interest. Quite a good actress. So this is about, it's obviously a fictitious story. It's set during the coronavirus pandemic, but some people are immune. Some people have got a complete immunity and they sort of go out and about. They are couriers. During a pandemic lockdown, Nico, a young man with rare immunity, must overcome martial law, murderous vigilantes, and a powerful family to reunite with his love, Sarah. So it is exactly what it says in the tin. It's kind of a love story. It sort of covers greed. It covers people trying to cover their own arse in the middle of just horrendous situations. The KJ Appa, I feel like I maybe should know who he is. He did have a good performance. I don't, unfortunately, know who he is. Craig Robinson's in this. He's always awesome. Bradley Whitford, he's always great. So I enjoyed this one. I thought it was quite good. I give that one a 3 out of 5. I would recommend. The following day, I watched one that I've seen get just such glowing reviews everywhere. Spontaneous. I wasn't so keen on this. I did give it a 2.5 out of 5. I will explain why I marked it a bit higher than perhaps I enjoyed it. This is a movie about a load of teenagers at high school that just start to spontaneously explode. Yes, explode. We never find out the reason for this in the whole duration of the movie. Maybe I'm just one of those people that likes to know what the hell's going on. It follows a young girl and a young guy, and, you know, obviously they're quite enamoured with one another. They're constantly in fear of, are they going to be next? It's their year group that keep exploding. I think it's sort of about seize the moment type of thing, overcome adversity, but it just did not, I don't know what that is, it just didn't, actually, let me click that. That was everybody else's ratings of it. I don't know what I clicked. This is rated really highly with everyone. We've got there 3.5, 4.5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. I give it a 2.5 because I thought it may appeal to the teenage generation of today in the way that movies like, you know, the John Hughes movies like At the Breakfast Club. I love that movie. Something Kind of Wonderful is another one for me that I love that I don't hear people talk about. You hear everyone talk about Pretty in Pink and, oh, there's other ones I can't think of. But for me, Something Kind of Wonderful was the one that really stood out as a teenager. And I thought this probably will appeal to the youth of today. I'm so old. I give it a 2.5, but I think hideously overrated. I just thought it was okay. On the same evening, thank the Lord, I watched a movie called Impeticor. Right, this movie I saw on the Spooky Astronauts channel. She's just so good at recommending things you haven't seen. She did a recent movie with I think 10 really, really good foreign movies that you may perhaps not have seen, and this was on the list, Impeticor. So this is about a woman who inherits a house back where she originally is from. She knows nothing really of her past. She's never met her parents, and her family have died and left her this house, but it's back in her native, now I can't remember where exactly the town she's from. A woman inherits a house in her ancestral village, but she's unaware that members of the community have been trying to locate and kill her to remove the curse that has plagued them for years. I think this is Indonesian. I hate saying what I think something is. Yes, it is. It's Indonesian. I'm being wrong. I really, really like this. The language is very fast. Obviously, it's subtitled. It's different. It's very unique. If you're used to watching foreign horror, you will be used to the style. It is a bit far-fetched in places, but I love this. I love the story. I loved where it went. I loved the effects that were used. There weren't many. They were used sparingly, but well. I liked how the movie ended up. I liked the acting. I thought this was thoroughly good. Give it a chance. If you watch it for the first 20 minutes, half an hour, you think, oh Jesus, this is boring, I'm bored, what's going on? Give it a chance. Give it the chance for her. This girl goes to this village with her friend. Give it a chance till they've got to the village. It starts to pick up from there. But Impeticor, I give that a 3.5 out of 5. I would thoroughly recommend it. I did enjoy it. On the following evening, I've clicked the wrong button. On the following evening, I watched Peninsula. Right, what on earth is everybody going on about? Everyone that I've seen, apart from one person, which is Strange Monkey, who put this in his favourite films of last year. This is Train to Busan 2. I've heard everyone say it's awful, it's so disappointing, it's ridiculous, it's got none of the heart of the original. This movie is very, very different from the original, and I'm glad it is. I think the original Train to Busan is a really unique movie with a really unique style and mood. This is just so completely different. It's all fast, it's all action. A lot of the effects are CGI, but to me, wonderful. Once you get into the movie and you get into what they're doing and how things look, it's just amazing. The storyline is a group of people in obviously a zombie apocalypse is sent back to this particular place. That's a ghost city that is overrun by zombies, but there is rumour of a truck having been left there which is full of money. So they're sent back to get this money, retrieve it, get back out again. But obviously it doesn't go as simple as that. They get in, there are people in there that aren't zombies that are alive. Things get messy, and it basically follows the story of them trying to follow their reef and try and get out, and things aren't particularly simple. So reviews here, we've got a 2, a 3.5, a 3, a 4. Yeah, some people have rated it okay. Now everyone I know, apart from Strange Monkey that watched this, didn't like it or thought it was really bad compared to the original. It's totally different from the original, go into it knowing that, but as far as zombie movies go, I thought this was thoroughly entertaining. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I had put off watching this for ages because everyone had said this is so bad, so bad. The dog is sat here shivering. It's not cold. But then when my buddy, Strange Monkey, said, no, this is really good, I watched it, and he was right. It was really good. On the 20th, I watched a new one on Netflix called Sightless. Now, Carlinio9, hope I got your name right there, he reviewed this recently and had a very, very similar viewpoint of this to me. It's pretty mediocre, it's alright, it's nothing new here. It's a young woman that has been attacked, and in the course of that attack has lost her sight. The movie follows her trying to adjust to life. Carer being brought in to help her. She doesn't want to really be helped, but then she senses that something is going on, something a bit untoward. You hear that? Let's see. During a pandemic, I've clicked the wrong flipping thing. I'm sorry that you've sat and looked at Songbird while I'm talking about Sightless. I don't know why. After an attack renders her blind, Ellen withdraws from the world to recover, but soon she plunges into paranoia, unable to convince anyone that her assailant has returned to terrorise her by hiding in plain sight. So obviously she can't see, and she is convinced that the person that left her as she is has come back to finish her off, basically. There's nothing you haven't seen here before. The movie Hush is much better. There was one last year that was released about a woman's husband. She was black. I can't remember what it was called. It was awful. This is somewhere in the middle. It's watchable. It's okay, but don't expect anything new or anything spectacular. I gave that a 2.5 out of 5. I think Carlinio9 gave it a 3 out of 5. On the 21st, I was so disappointed with this. I watched Dick Johnson is Dick. Oh, I'll open a YouTube now. What the hell's going on? Get out. This had been recommended to me just all over the place. Most notably Austin Burke, who I do watch, and generally his viewpoint and mine are just very similar. This is a movie, now this is going to sound odd, bear with me. I love a documentary and I love anything based on reality. This is a movie where a woman, she decides to make a movie starring her father, who has been diagnosed with dementia and he's going to pass away. Her mother passed away from the same illness not that far before. So with this inventive portrait Actor Kirsten Johnston seeks a way to keep her 86-year-old father alive forever. Utilising movie-making magic and her family's dark humour, she celebrates Dr. Dick Johnson's last years by staging fantasies of death and beyond. So basically she kills her father off a number of times. That sounds pretty humorous, and I've heard this is really good. I did love the parts that were very heartfelt, that were just proper documentary, where she was sitting down talking to her dad about life. All that was fantastic. It was intermingled with artsy-fartsy scenes of just... maybe if you're like a drama student, or you're into things being very arty-farty. I hate this kind of thing. Maybe it will appeal to some people. It completely took me out of the situation and what was happening. Maybe that's what it's meant to do, but I just didn't feel anything was being achieved by having her father killed off in numerous different ways. It sounds funny, it sounds entertaining. I didn't find that at all, but it is very popular, and it's rated on average a 3.9 out of 5. I gave it a, what did I give it? I think I gave it a 2. Yeah, 2 out of 5. Purely because I did like those little bits, the serious bits. Outside of that, I didn't feel the formula worked, but that's maybe a personal thing. And lastly, this afternoon, I have watched, just to fill in the blanks for you, I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder. I'm on the last season, and I started watching Defending Jacob recently, so that's why there's a few little gaps. Usually I'm watching 2 movies a day, which is really sad actually. I am an insomniac. So I watch a movie with my husband in an evening about 10 o'clock, and then we go to bed, and then I'll watch another movie in bed. So this one I kept for today so that my son could watch it. My son Isaac is 9. This is, I think in America, a PG-13. I think here classified a 12. We do let Isaac watch 12s because I don't feel there's anything really bad in it. Obviously there's a bit of language here and there, and some people don't want their kids to see that. There's a bit of like silly violence. We don't mind. I grew up on horror movies and it never did me any harm. I'm not that keen on him watching something that's got swearing every second word. That movie makes me sound really stuffy, but when it's just for the sake of it, foul language, I don't want him to watch it because kids are impressionable, and I don't want him speaking like that. Oh God, I sound like my mother. But other than that, I'm not really bothered, right? Excuse me. So this afternoon we watched Love and Monsters, which everyone has been giving glowing praise about, and rightly so, I'm glad to say. This is a whole lot of fun. This, let me see if I can read you the synopsis rather than bore you with what I say. 7 years after the monster apocalypse, Joel Dawson, along with the rest of humanity, have been living underground ever since giant creatures took control of the land. I'm not going to... Basically, I think meteorites are going to hit Earth. The government sends up rockets. They hit the meteorites, but some kind of chemical pollution falls to land, basically making all insects, amphibians, that sort of thing, giant. There's the ratings you can see on the screen there. The lowest rating there is 3. Monty, good old Monty, horror miser Monty G. Shame on you, Monty. It's more than a 3. But 3 out of 5 is a good score. This is... Isaac loved this. As a matter of fact, me, Isaac and my husband all really enjoyed this. And there's just an adorable dog in it called Boy. Love the dog. I'm going to give you a spoiler here. If you don't want a spoiler, it's about the dog. Put the mute down for 5 seconds. The dog does not die. Right, that needed to be said for a lot of people. There's even a website addicted to that, or for that especially. So... all the animals, all the like insects, there's like toads, snails, worms, all that sort of thing are giant, and people have to try to kill them to survive. He decides in the midst of this, everyone's in colonies underground, he wants to reconnect with his girlfriend, but she's 85 miles away. And travelling there on foot is basically a death sentence, but he decides he wants to try. This is obviously 7 years later, so he hasn't seen her for 7 years. But there's been intermittent contact on a radio. And the story is basically his trip to try to get to her. And it's thoroughly heartwarming, it's funny, it's... When I say scary in places, it's not scary, it's not proper scary, but it's like, oh, what's going to happen type thing. I loved it. The direction had a real feel of Ready Player One to me. Just something that engages kids, that pulls them in. I say kids, I don't mean really little kids. You know, something that grabs that sort of tween, just approaching teen, early teen years, and it pulls them in, and you know, they want to watch. It's very much like that, but with enough fun and enough good acting to keep adults entertained also. I loved this. I really hope they do more of these, because they did, to me, leave it in a way that they could do more, and I really would like to see more of these because they were a whole lot of fun. I gave it a 4 out of 5, which very few movies get 5s to me. It has to be perfect to get a 5, so a 4 out of 5 is glowing praise indeed. So, is there anything that you have watched recently that you would recommend to me? Thank you for watching, and I have done a video on my favourite actresses and actors. I don't know if that will have went up before this or after, but I hope you enjoy, and I will catch up with you next week to let you know what I have watched. Over a night from Lisa Loves.